Right, bit of investigative journalism today. Who remembers Xbus? Super modular, lightweight, efficient camper van slash cargo van slash pickup truck slash whatever you want it to be, unveiled back in 2021? Yeah, those guys. We were so excited when we first saw pictures of that vehicle, and clearly we weren't the only ones because over 17,000 people have pre-ordered one to date. But in recent months, things have gone a little bit quiet with Xbus, so what's the deal? Is this vehicle still happening? If so, why have there been so many delays? When is it happening? And what has fundamentally changed with the design since those first render images that we saw? Well, I'll tell you what, let's find out for ourselves. This is the Xbus, and this is the Fully Charged Show.
Want to see the Xbus in the metal? Then come to Fully Charged Live in Amsterdam this weekend on the 24th, 25th and 26th of November. Get your tickets today.
At long last, it has been a long time coming. This is surely one of the most requested vehicles that we see time and time again in the comments of our videos, and finally we've been able to make it happen. Welcome everyone to the Xbus. It's taken a little while, it's taken longer than these guys planned for it to, and it's not quite finished yet. We're still a little ways away from the start of production, but this feels like a good moment to come and pay these guys a visit and just get a sense of where things are at, because my understanding, having spoken to the people in charge today, is that this is starting to get quite exciting. It's starting to get quite real and really gain momentum now. So what we're going to do is hear from the people in charge, get a sense of where things are at, the timeline for the coming months, and what changes are going to be made to this vehicle between now and the start of production, because this is a prototype, there will still be some changes. But before we do any of that, let's just remind ourselves of what on earth this thing is. Why is this vehicle so exciting? What is it about it that has caused over 17,000 people to pre-order one? So what is the Xbus? Well, fundamentally, it is an adorable, lightweight, simple, ultra-modular electric vehicle that can basically be turned into whatever you want it to be, depending on whatever you drop onto the back. The one that really captured people's imagination in the first place was the camper variant, but there's also a pickup truck, there's a cargo van, there's a tippy one, about as many different versions as you would care to imagine. It can be whatever you want it to be. Adorable design, well, that doesn't require too much explaining. It's pretty self-explanatory. Look at it. You know Wall-E, the robot from Pixar? He wants to date this. It's so cute. It's a lovely, charming, happy little vehicle. I say little. It's not actually that diddy, but it will blow your mind to know that this is actually classified as an L7E. This is a microcar. It's the same category of vehicle as Microlino, Carver, City Transformer. How on earth have they managed that? We'll explain in just a second. And of course, affordability, absolutely central to the pitch here. With an endless array of big, heavy, expensive electric vehicles, it's really refreshing to see something lightweight and affordable. And on the Xbus website, it's claimed that the starting price for this vehicle, without any of the back bits on, is going to be in the vicinity of £17,500. That is, again, subject to a little bit of change as the development process goes on. But even if it increases slightly, we're looking at one of the more affordable electric vehicles on the market. So about that modularity, as you can see right now, we are in cargo van mode. We've got a big old storage space back here, big enough actually to fit 2 Euro pallets. And one of the changes that's coming in the next few months is that this cargo space is going to get a tiny bit longer. It's big enough to accommodate 3 Euro pallets. 3 Euro pallets in an L7 category microcar is absolutely bonkers.
Now, you may be looking at the Xbus in comparison to me and wondering how on earth this thing fits into a vehicle category with an upper weight limit of just 800 kilos. The answer is through some very clever design with a dash of rule bending.
You see, the Xbus, technically, is everything in front of here and everything underneath here. What you drop on top of it is load. It's not part of the vehicle's official weight, be it this cargo space or the big camper unit. It doesn't count as part of the Xbus weight, which enables them to sort of cheekily qualify this as an L7 category microcar. The bottom line is that this vehicle, without anything dropped onto the back of it, weighs less than 800 kilos, which of course means it's going to be extremely efficient. It's not going to require as much battery material as heavier vehicles in order to have really usable range, which enables them to keep things nice and affordable. And actually, another really clever thing these guys have done to keep the official weight of the vehicle down is to keep as much of the battery matter as possible removable, and again as part of that load. So these numbers again subject to change, but what it says on the website is give or take 10 kilowatt hours of battery fitted permanently, and then up to another 30 kilowatt hours can be fitted inside of the load space up here, whichever one you're using, be it the camper, be it the cargo van. You can then just drop in extra batteries as and when you need them to increase your range. How much range? Well, of course, it's pretty difficult to give a figure for a vehicle like this, considering that the amount of battery that you have in the back is sort of up to you, considering that the weight of the vehicle can more than double depending on which configuration. Xbus weighs less than 800 kilos, can take more than a ton on its backside. So I suppose the question is, how much range do you want?
The first step then was to have a small car, to bring the solution that we have a small car that is also able to cross the small inner cities, where we have normally now the prohibited for bigger cars, trucks and pickups to cross these roads or to enter the inner cities. And the next step then was to have the modularity, which we are having with our Xbus. That means you have just one basic car with a driver's cabin, and the rest of the vehicle is always then used by modules that you can change, even by yourself if you like, but also, if necessary, you can enter the shop or the dealership where you have purchased your car, or any other dealership, and then change the module. Meaning, if you are a carpenter and you are using, let's say, the bigger version for your regular use, but then for, let's say, a specific circumstance, you need the box version. You just need to make a reservation, you go out, you change the pickup module, and then you have the box version on your car, and you can go out. And also the weight of the car is very light, as the name is already saying. That makes also easier for, let's say, all the surrounding costs like insurances. And if you have a light vehicle, that's what you can very easily follow up, is that the energy that you have to use to move the vehicle is much less. From our perspective, it doesn't really make sense to bring an fully electric powered vehicle like an SUV that is weighing 2 tons. So I don't want to use any brand's name, but we all know what we are talking about. So these vehicles are very popular. But where is the sense when just one person wants to drive from home to work with a car that is weighing 2 tons? So therefore, we decided to have more or less the same safetiness and a very comfortable cabin where you can sit in, that you have everything you need to drive comfortable from A to B, but not with a weight that you are moving which is not necessary.
Now, you may be wondering, just how modular is this thing? Can you, as an Xbus owner, chop and change during your ownership, or is it the case of it leaves the factory modular, but once they plop a module on top, that's it, that's you? Well, it's the former. You can chop and change, and it's really quite simple to do. Let's say that you have a pickup bed and a camper for your Xbus. You're in pickup mode, you're going away for the weekend, you want to swap to the camper. You don't necessarily even need to take it into the dealership to have it swapped out. There are 4 jacking points here, same on the other side. Inside the battery components, unplug essentially in the same way like a big Lego set would, just big chunky plugs, very easy to do. And all you do, jack this up, drive out, drive into the other one, clip it in, simple as that. And a really cool thing is you won't necessarily even need to buy the other modules. Xbus will rent you a camper module for the weekend so that you don't have it filling up your entire shed the other 364 days of the year. Interior of the Xbus. This is quite a strange feeling, having this high up commanding driving position, being in such a roomy cabin. Look at the space I've got in here. In an L7 microcar. This is a microcar, legally speaking. The mind boggles. So what have we got here? Well, not a whole lot. Of course, affordability is central to this vehicle, so we don't have a wall of touchscreens and massage seats, and I'm quite glad that we don't, quite frankly, because who needs them? What we do have is a very flat piece of glass and absolutely no car whatsoever beyond it. I've driven the ID Buzz. I've driven vehicles where there's virtually no bonnet in front of the windscreen, but this redefines having no bonnet in front of the windscreen. If the glass isn't cracked, you've got more room in front of you. It would be the easiest vehicle to park on the entire planet. Beyond that, I mean, we have very little to talk about. There's a little screen here to operate infotainment, which I imagine is still a work in progress. I quite like these gear selector buttons here mounted in the steering wheel. Also volume and menu buttons here with a nice tactile click to them. I'm a big fan of that. Worth noting that one of the more key changes to the Xbus that are going to happen between now and production will be happening in this cabin, and that will be the addition of a third seat here in between these two. Legally, you can have a maximum of 3 occupants in an L7 micro car, so why not take full advantage of that and have that third seat there? But having 3 across the front is going to be a lovely touch. It does also mean that the width of the vehicle is going to increase slightly. We don't know exact numbers yet, but somewhere in the vicinity of 18 to 20 centimeters. So still a sub 2 meter wide vehicle and still a very lightweight vehicle. It's not tiny, it's not even especially small, but it does still have that lightness that we love about L7 category microcars, and the efficiency and the long range with relatively small amounts of battery that comes with.
So it's going to get a bit taller, a bit longer, and a fair bit wider. It's also going to get a bit flatter. The current bodywork, despite appearing boxy, is actually slightly curved, which looks very nice but adds needless cost to manufacturing. Final question then, when will it be ready?
But on the next step, then you have to find a partner that has the capacity and also the possibility to manufacture your vehicle. You can search globally, but then that doesn't make sense for us because we want to be economic and sustainable. And if you find a manufacturer in Asia, America, or wherever, that doesn't make sense for us because this is not electric brands. So we have been searching for a partner which is not on a long distance away from us, so that we have also the possibility to be involved by preparing the assembly road and all this. VDL Netcar is a well-known manufacturer located in the Netherlands. He has a long history. He's one of the most and highest rated manufacturer for vehicles anyway. So you can see established OEMs. We will start the production by end of next year with VDL Netcar, with the Xbus.
So, Xbus, real? Happening? Well, it seems like it to me. I know that there are a lot of people out there with pre-orders for this vehicle who are starting to feel a little impatient, and that's understandable. I also know that it's easy to start to lose faith when these shiny new car brands get hit by setbacks, because goodness knows we have met enough brilliant new brands with brilliant ideas that never saw the light of day. But of course, developing a new car is an iterative process. Delays are absolutely inevitable, especially when you're new, especially when you're small. And the good news is it really does feel like things are starting to gain momentum for these guys now. That production date of late 2024, that's allegedly locked in and not subject to any more delays. Having secured a manufacturer is a really big win. And I think the thing I'm most happy about and relieved by is the fact that this latest round of changes to the design will not ruin or change what is fundamentally brilliant about this vehicle, which is the modularity, the lightness, the simplicity, the affordability. It's going to get a bit wider and a bit flatter, and I can live with that. So there we go, Xbus, coming slowly but surely, and hopefully going to be well worth the wait. Cannot wait to get my hands on a more advanced prototype and get it out on the road, but for the time being, please do make sure to like and subscribe. And if you have been, thanks for watching.